Yes, 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 yes! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of It's Not That Deep, bro. And we're back. Episode 40.
Jesus Christ.
40. And today, we have a very, very special guest.
In celebration.
The man, the myth, the legend, our film connoisseur, Liam Cooke. How you doing, bro?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Liam is an old friend of mine. We go
That's
way
right.
back, don't we, Liam? We went to school together.
10 years? Probably 11 years.
Maybe more, yeah. 10, 11 years at this point, which is...
How was that? How were you guys in high school? Huh?
Talking about music
I'm
and
happier
film.
with my current situation.
We still spoke about like music and film a lot when we were younger.
Definitely like music, Green Day.
Green Day and pop punk, and I'd say the analytical conversations we used to have inspired the way that like this podcast runs, you know, from all the way back then. So it's fitting to have you on the podcast,
That's right.
Liam.
Thank you.
It's a very special episode today because
We're firing down the Randy Master,
that's right. Just
the
for
Randy Master.
one episode.
giving it a rest.
That's right.
Because Liam,
I wanted to see it live in action. I'm disappointed.
you're not going to see us wire it up with the big winch
Wheel.
that we use. Yeah.
It's become the 5,000 because we don't need to do that anymore. It's all digital. You know what I mean?
So Liam has actually bought a film with him.
That's right.
That he is. We don't know what it is, do we?
No,
Martin?
we don't.
Not
So,
yet.
are you going to show us? Are you going to tell the
Well,
crowd
I
what it
think
is?
we should still do a countdown like we normally do,
What?
and then
Okay.
Liam will say what the name of the film is.
All right. We
right.
can do it together.
We can do it together this week.
I'll
Fantastic.
let you two do it.
So
And I'll get geared up to say it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And the film we are watching is
Don Hertzfeld's It's Such a Beautiful Day.
Oh shit.
Wow.
Okay. What year did they come out?
Well, this is a 2012 film, but the short films that made it are from 2006, 2008, and 2011.
You
I
said
believe.
that I'd
Amazing.
seen a portion of this film, and I now understand what you mean.
Yeah.
Can I see it?
I can't remember. I think the bit that you've seen is the first short film, which is called Everything Will Be Okay.
Everything. Yeah, yeah.
Is this
I think
animated?
Yeah.
it is animated. So if you're listening, go get yourself a copy of
It's a beautiful day.
It's Such a Beautiful Day
Such a beautiful
by
day.
Don Hertzfeld, and we will see you on the other side.
Peace out.
It's not that deep, It's not
Oh, it's such a beautiful day. That was such a.
That sounds weird, Martin, because it's like 11 at night where we currently are.
It's still a good day, isn't it?
But yeah, we have just finished watching. It's such a beautiful day
Yeah.
That's right.
by Don Hertzfeld.
Yeah.
And we are still joined by our good friend Liam Cooke.
Hello, everybody.
Normally what I do at this juncture is say, Martin, what did you think of that film?
Everybody dies by train.
Everybody.
I'm sick of it. Oh, and she gets killed by a train.
I don't think they really
Train.
did, though.
What?
I don't think they really did, though.
Well,
3 of them did. And it stayed in my mind the whole time. I was like, trains.
how did it make?
What the fuck? Trains, bro.
How did this film make you feel? Because it's not
Sad
like
for Bill. I know that wasn't supposed to rhyme, but it did.
It's
I
not
felt
laid
really
out like a normal film.
No, I was really worried about Bill. Although some of the shit that was happening, I was like, why is he thinking about? Oh, what did he think?
I think
Think
it's
about a lot of things. Leaves in a shoe on the side, in a woman's shoe on the
Yeah.
sidewalk that made him sad.
It may,
fish tumors
Yeah,
coming out of people's
huge
heads.
fish coming out his head.
people with different animal heads at the bus stop.
Oh yeah.
Is that a like a real disease? Like this?
What, the fish coming out the head?
No, but like a person feeling that way.
Well,
You know what I mean?
I don't think what he has is
Because obviously
base.
a lot.
I
of
don't
the-
know. I don't know, to be honest, but I don't. From reading like synopsis and shit, I think it says that he's got like an unspecified neurological disease. So I don't know if it's like a real symptom or not, or if it's like sort of because it's like a animated film. They've just sort of like it's like a
taking a liberty.
they've taken it even further than
Yeah, yeah.
reality sort of thing.
The whole every time it went sort of like real
Mm.
because it's like when they were talking to him, they're like, "Oh, Bill, can you add up these numbers? Can you see these? What is this? Who is this? Like, do you remember all of this?" It felt like they were in a hospital room, they were like examining him.
The
Felt
lots,
very real.
the different.
Yeah.
What's the right term? Forms of footage used in this film were very interesting. From like
Yeah,
real
what was all
life
that background
footage.
shit? I was like, constantly looking at it. I was like, this felt like the Midnight Gospel. You know how there's like
I've not
so
actu- I've
much
not watched
going
it.
on.
That's like a
Screen.
podcast,
Yeah,
but,
but
turned
it's-
into like an Adventure Time
Yeah.
TV
Duncan
show.
Trussell, who is friend, I listened to his podcast. He's friends with Joe Rogan.
Oh,
That's
right,
how I
okay.
know him, and he made this show. Everyone that I've spoken to about it says, "You'll love it, Oland. What are you doing?"
Yeah, that is a very Jack Oland show
It's very good I
because
don't
they
know why
literally just discuss like
yeah, but the way that
big concepts and shit, and then there's
Shit
like
that's
crazy
happening,
animated stuff
yeah.
going on in the background.
this exactly felt like that because I was like looking at the background, trying to look at other pictures, listen to what he was saying, but then also try to follow everything that was happening in each picture because they kept moving around.
It's
And
sort
then the background was still going. And I'm like, oh, there's so much.
there's parts where there's like 4 things going on at once,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's and there's like something crazy happening. Like there's like a he's pictured this guy as like a bird man or something,
Yeah.
and he's saying
can
like
say
the power of Christ compels you.
Yeah.
Also,
Is
And
that
then-
one who could only say Bible, but it's like Bible.
oh no, that's like his crazy uncle or something
Oh,
who
yeah,
lived in the
yeah.
forest, but it's obviously when there's like so much going on and there's so much noise and it keeps building up, it's obviously like depicting his mental state,
Yeah.
sort of thing.
The one with like, oh, there's water coming out the pipe.
Oh yeah, the
Oh.
the pipe is leaking
The pipe
or
is
something like that.
leaking. Yeah, yeah, that.
And
I was
there's
like-
even another one before that as well. Like there's a few where it's when he's watching boxing on the TV.
Yeah.
And it keeps showing it in slow motion, and the noise is like
Keeps getting
excruciating.
It's
And there's
so
like so
bad.
much other shit going on
There's also
as
the
well.
sequence when he's walking around the house and he keeps opening the door and hitting himself in the face.
Yeah.
And also the one where he walks around the block
Yeah,
multiple times. There's lots. So
How strange would that be? Because like he kept doing it, but that's like depicting his like he was saying his mental health. But does that mean he's seeing the woman with the shoe every single time, even though they're not? They might have been there the first time, but not the second time.
well, I think it's like a pair of abandoned shoes that are filled with leaves, isn't it?
Leaves,
Yeah,
yeah.
is what he's when is that what you mean when he
Yeah.
walks around the block? So I feel like he's
He's
walked around the
seeing it.
block like 5 times, and he's forgotten every time, and he keeps like
And it's-
registering it and feeling the same thing.
it's why does he feel that? So what
Why
I would
does it make him feel sad?
well, what I would say about this film, my impressions.
Yeah, what are yours?
would be that Bill is a fantastic storytelling device to talk about the transient nature of reality. That
Bill.
yeah,
He's gonna live forever.
Don
Bill's
Hertzfeld.
forever.
Don Hertzfeld obviously has a good understanding of the sort of reality, like literally how, because obviously this is a movie, so movies are meant to show grandiose fantasy, you know, all of that's how traditional cinema kind of exists.
Yeah.
But then this film shows moments like being stood at the bus stop. There was that fantastic scene where it was just someone stood at a bus stop and you're watching someone with a leaf blower blow leaves around.
I think you.
That would.
The biggest comparison I was
That was
thinking
me.
when I was watching this was like a Razorhead.
I was definitely thinking about Eraserhead
And
watching this.
specifically that you say about that leaf blower scene, that scene in Twin Peaks where the guy's just mopping up the floor for like 10 minutes.
In the third season.
it's
it's
the
credits.
return.
And
Yeah.
well, it kind of rolls into the credits. You see it for like 2 or 3
Yeah.
minutes without any credits, and then they just start happening. But those moments, it's like waiting in the doctor's office or waiting for a bus. Life really is mostly that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And there's kind of these exciting moments in between, and this film seems to focus in on those moments, these liminal, I guess that's what you call them.
And there's even the point where he's thinking about the amount of times he's dropped his keys on the counter or brushed his teeth or just
opened that door and smacked his hair.
and he thinks to himself, this is my life, not the exciting bits, like the menial bits.
Yeah,
that
it even says that, doesn't
Everything,
it?
everything else is just.
There's like blips of excitement, but the majority of life is these kind of
'Cause you do
really
that all the time.
monotonous moments.
Is the director the person who narrates it?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. He's like, I like the narrator in this. It's almost like a documentarian. Like he's describe, like
I feel like
if you're watching a nature show, he's like describing what's happening very like frankly, sort of thing.
That's why I say
Nothing like.
Until the end, when he seems to have got involved when Bill is gonna die, and he's like,
Wait a minute.
and
That's
he's like,
when it
he
kind
can't die here.
it became more apparent that like Bill was like a metaphor or a good storytelling device at the end to talk about like the human experience more than just this Bill character.
Yeah.
I don't think because Bill's story anyway is difficult to kind of put parameters on and be like and to get a solid story down for Bill. You know, he lived a very confusing life.
Yeah,
A lot of
it's
it
very
was
messy. And
It was very confusing to me because I was like, the first chapter happened, and then when the second chapter comes in, it's like, oh, last week, Bill hurt himself at football. You're like,
it's told,
okay.
But
then it cuts back to him being an adult, and I'm like, what?
I almost think you're sort of supposed to have that like confusion and like just messiness sort of thing, especially because he's like losing his memory and like everything's just sort of
From reading,
and they talk about how time as well is like is you just happen to go through it in a straight line, but all of this is happening at once, and that's another crazy
talking
like fucking
to like
idea
old
in this
people a lot and seeing like interviews with people talking about getting older and how you perceive your memories as time goes on. The kind of general vibe that I get from it is as time goes on, you start to realize that you've got these like selection of memories that you hold on to, that you view a certain way, and that you're just left with these snapshots in time, and time moves on without you, but it's completely objective to, you know, you that you're experiencing that time. And where this film does focus on like the real monotonous elements of life, but then it also has these crazy metaphysical truths in this film that about the nature of the universe, and it's mad how we can find a connection there is some weird connection with the breakdown of like someone's mental space and death and moving back into, I don't know, where we came from or before birth or whatever, without getting too religious or spiritual or whatever about it.
What do you think about the whole time is linear?
No, I think we're living in
A linear time.
Well, no, but like people talking about the universe being a simulation is a bit of a meme these days. Like it's kind of accepted, isn't it, that like something screwy's.
Have you seen?
It's such a dense like idea to get your head round. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's hard to even fathom. Like,
I just say something's going on.
yeah,
Have you seen that guy who's apparently a time traveler from 2582?
Is
No.
his name John Titor?
Fuck knows, I don't
Have
know.
you read? Where did you read this?
What?
Ladbible.
No.
Where? Facebook.
Yeah, on Complex or something.
Okay. Well, there's been
But
a
they were
number
like,
of.
oh, he's been interviewed, and instead of worrying for aliens, we should be worried about monsters in the sea.
I mean,
Wow.
there's been a number of perpetrated time travelers that have, come and said that they are, and that they've got prophecies of apocalypse and all of this, but it's
funny.
there's
to see.
there's
funny to
more
see.
interesting stuff going on that's true, that to worry about. We've actually got like pandemics happening and stuff like that. That's probably more.
Don't give
It's
that
funny
shit
to
the
see.
light of day, basically.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying.
Why not?
But back to Don Hertzfeld and his outlook on life. I think I kind of was crying at the end of that film because it really just took like a.
Yeah, it blew me away this time. To be fair, I've obviously seen it before, but I think this was my favourite viewing.
Your favourite
sort
viewing?
of thing.
You got
Yeah,
something out of it that
Really?
you didn't before.
Yeah.
Is it because I was watching with you?
Maybe.
Wasn't it?
maybe
You felt my emotion.
that's right. Well, I wasn't sure if you liked it or not, but did you?
I did enjoy it, yeah. I mean, obviously each part was sort of like weird. Seeing that first bit where it goes all crazy, I'm like, what is this? I didn't find it like super funny. Like I know that you guys were laughing quite a lot. I didn't like see everything that was quite funny.
It's
But
not funny in like a joke sense. It's sort of like
it's just saying stupid shit, and you're like,
there's
well,
like an
well,
irony to like the
Yeah.
humour and
There's a how do I phrase this? There's a tendency to take these mundane situations in this film and then find the worst possible thing that could happen within that situation.
Yeah.
And that's what Bill's kind of imagining is happening in his head. And it's kind of up for debate whether he actually does some of these things or if they're like just perceptions he's having,
Yeah.
or memories or dreams or whatever. But I will always, and it's something that I know me and Liam have always shared a sense of humor in, the breaking of a boundary or a social norm or
what? Wait,
yeah, because
The whole
the example that I
throwing
can
a
think of.
kid.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
I was like, what?
And
What is happening?
the example I can think of is like when his mum reserved a burial plot in between her parents or something like that.
but due to a clerical error.
Yeah, due to a clerical error, she was buried 50 yards away between some rich lady's golden retriever and a coffin full of rocks or something.
It's like
And obviously that is like an awful
inherently
situation.
bleak.
Yeah, but it's like, so you've just got to laugh at that
Yeah.
sort of thing. Like,
It's very like Brazil. It's very almost satire-y.
Yeah.
Black humor.
That first scene when he's talking about like Bill was walking to the bus stop and he saw a friend. but
Oh,
couldn't
yeah.
remember his
And he
name.
said, what? Or something
What?
like that. Hey up.
how's up, I
How's
think.
up?
Yeah.
I
then-
was
Yeah.
like- and then he's like, looked away and he just said, "Rah."
And then the narrator
What?
just says neither of them will ever see each other again.
Yeah.
That's something that if it was filmed like properly, it would look terrible. And
Yeah.
If it had no narrator, if it wasn't like in this format, it wouldn't work at all. But you couldn't. I kept thinking whilst I was watching this film, why the fuck is this interesting? Like, why is this so captivating? This what I'm seeing, like
Yeah.
drawings.
But you just
Yeah.
kept watching.
But it was, and it's because he understands something about the reality, like how life is, and he's managed to pack it into it. So it just continuously was interesting to watch.
Yeah. He sort of understands how like I don't know, like the mundane pieces of life sort of thing, and
Because if you,
how that can make you have like an existential crisis about like what is my life sort of thing, and that you could possibly say that sort of like translates into the fact that it's all like stick images and stuff, because that is like the most basic form of animation sort of thing.
perceiving like a human,
Yeah,
sort of,
at
in
its
your
most basic.
headspace,
them scenes where it turns into like
a brain.
Oh, yeah,
where
that's-
it's
The
like
ones
real people and then like
Yeah.
walking past, but then
It's
they turn it
fantastic.
into like stick men, and you're like,
It's
The bit where it was showing people as
that's why I
brain.
was like, is this real? Is this is real? But
The bit where it was showing people as brain stems, I just
Yeah.
thought was absolutely fantastic. Because I think
Yeah.
about like that all the time, how like
Yeah.
we're just nervous systems with electricity shooting around, and that's what's informing
Yeah.
our thoughts.
like we associate each other with like our faces, but
yeah,
that is not like really you. That is not your face. It's
the-
all of the shit inside your head, and that's
brain.
yeah, that's what's controlling you. It's I love how
well, you just look like that because you were born that way. So.
yeah,
It's easy. The face is like this focal point of communication.
Yeah.
where all these signals are popping off to inform how one
Yeah.
feels. So it makes sense to look at a face, but
I love how it's just a great film because it on surface it's just about a guy who's losing his memory, but then it does manage to just put all those like ideas somehow to fit it in there. Like that's what you mean by Bill is just like a great narrative device to sort of get to all of these like
concepts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's midway through the one. I'd say towards the end of the film, I was realizing, this is a really fucking good film.
nice.
Yeah, this is a bang top bit of filmmaking because it's loaded with information. The places you can go philosophically, talking about this film, vast in scope, you know. And we were talking about this before the episode. I've seen some of Don Hertzfeld's work long ago.
Yeah.
And it's in the form of this video called Rejected that went around the early internet in like 2004, 5, 6, that sort of period of time.
Rejected.
Yeah, it was called Rejected, and it said this was submitted for the Academy Awards, and it was rejected for an Oscar.
I think it's
Showed you the short.
I think it's supposed to be like advert ideas or something
was it
like
advert
that. Yeah,
ideas?
something
Not-
like that.
not an
And they were
Oscar.
like, yeah, all of these ideas were rejected, sort of thing.
And
yeah,
the lead, the one that became like an internet meme is it's all done in the very similar style with these like stick figures. One of them just walks onto the screen, and then blood starts to come out of the abdomen of the character, and he exclaims, "My anus is bleeding," and then it continues to happen, much like the tap. And then he says it again, "My anus is bleeding," and it continues on in that fashion. And there's a few of these sketches, and even back then, I remember being quite young, watching that and thinking,
What do you think he's saying?
this is making me feel odd. I've never really pondered this. My spoon's too big was another one. A guy walked in. There was a very small bowl on the floor, and this character was holding a very large spoon, and he was looking at the bowl and saying, "My spoon is too big."
You just there fucking pissing yourself.
it is funny.
there's
That's
something
just something
existential
inherently
about that. Like, I can't eat what's in the bowl. My spoon's too big. It's very simple. It's that.
Yeah.
It's this concept diluted.
So
And
What
it's
do you think
and
it
it's
meant?
menial again. It's like
just like doing these.
it's not like it's like a very again. My spoon is too big. Just trying to eat cereal. It's another
Everyday task.
yeah.
It's something you can get it. Like everyone knows what it's like to eat out of a bowl, and everyone would know how frustrating it would be to have a spoon too big for a bowl. It is.
And to have a bleeding anus.
And
Yeah.
that one is a
mean-
little more on the nose.
If you do, you should not be doing a podcast right now.
No, well, not right now. But
And you can see, like, with the humour that me and Liam were laughing at in this film, he still had it at that early stage.
Yeah.
That's the sort of humour. I mean, yeah, it's a little on the nose. My anus is bleeding, but it's in the same ballpark of crude humour.
Dark humor, which I'm not like
Absurd.
opposed of, but I don't know, like maybe a different type of dark humor. I did enjoy it though. It did.
good.
I do like it being like busy on the screen, even though it fucks me up.
Yeah.
When there's a lot of things going on, I sort of enjoy it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel at ease because there's so much going on, and I'm like,
You
okay.
mentioned those bits where, like, lights fracturing through in the background. There might be, like, stick figure action happening, but there's, like, odd blemishes of light and just stuff coming through. And that, it's like when I don't know if you've ever done this, either of you, but, like, push down on your eyes really hard and then let go, and there's all these, like, patterns and stuff like that. That's very... It's like coming out of sleep or coming out of anesthesia. That was fucking awful, that scene where it was like Bill lay on the table as they inserted a tube into his large artery and it went through into his brain. That was like, then they inserted a dye into his blood.
Graphic, bro. Graphic.
Yeah, he obviously understands, like, consciousness. We were talking about the last couple of episodes of Neon Genesis Evangelion before we did this podcast, and funnily enough, it reminded me of those last episodes where it's very like there's bits in those last episodes where it's monologues of the main characters all talking on top of one another about what they think about Shinji, and there's like scribbling of crayons and all this animation on top of one another, and it very much reminded me of that. It's like a whole film done in that style.
Yeah. It's been so long since I've watched Neon Genesis, unfortunately, but
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
why not?
Martin really was
I
dead.
don't really hate
It's-
it.
it's-
I
I wouldn't
would
call-
not watch it again.
It's not like an accessible. I mean, I think I've watched it like twice, and even because it's quite a dense anime. Well, in terms of like ideas, and even I've like not struggled with it, but been like, fucking hell, that's like a lot.
I'm really upset me and Martin didn't watch it together. That is a regret.
Have you
of
not-
mine.
You've done a podcast on it, haven't you?
Yeah, I've watched it.
He
but by
watched it
myself.
in his own time.
Oh, right.
And he watched like the sub. He watched it how he'd watch anime.
On Netflix.
No,
Oh, right.
I've got a website that I go on.
I wish he could have experienced the experience I had with it, sort of thing. But it's just one of those. But maybe we'll watch the rebuilds at some point because they're like a whole different thing.
Yeah, I want to watch them as well.
Maybe. I mean, I was pretty like.
And you should watch Shin Godzilla.
That is it.
What?
It is on our list.
Shin Godzilla's
guy-
directed by the creator of Neon Genesis.
Evangelion.
And
He made a Godzilla film.
And Godzilla's got like a pretty anime like design in that he like starts off as like a weird fucking baby lizard type thing and just disgustingly transforms. If you've seen Akira, sort of like at the end of
We
Akira.
watched Akira together.
Yeah. And he's got like really beady eyes and shit like that. He looks like an anime.
Shin Godzilla.
Yeah.
I've seen so. I saw.
But
Have you seen the Godzilla films, the animated Godzilla films on Netflix?
No.
I don't.
No, I've heard
I wouldn't-
not to. I don't
yeah,
want
I
to.
wouldn't.
And they're in
I would
film
I've actually. That's
format, like not a series, aren't they?
rare. I'm hearing you like telling someone to not watch something.
Yeah, because it's. no. The whole, it's because the way that they built it up and then the way that they ended it, I was like, what are you doing? And then I just washed my hands with it and like, I'm done.
Yeah, I've had only negative things about that, to be fair, so I definitely won't watch it. There's a
There
new
you go.
series, though. But let's not talk about Godzilla for long, because...
You are wearing a Hiroshima shirt, which you were telling me
Yeah.
the other day. Godzilla is, the premise for it is that it's the embodiment of the
Yeah, he's... Yeah.
the terror.
Oh, the what?
The terror of the atomic bomb is what inspired
Right.
someone to
So a
create.
lizard
Godzilla-
got hit by the atomic bomb mutated
No.
into being Godzilla.
The Godzilla is
Godzilla
a
is...
metaphor.
Yeah, Godzilla's just a metaphor
Yeah.
for, like,
I
the
get it.
destruction of
I get it.
Hiroshima.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the doctors has to decide, one of the scientists creates a weapon that can destroy Godzilla, but he doesn't want to do it. He has like a crisis. He doesn't want to use that weapon to kill Godzilla because he doesn't want the weapon to be
power
found out
to be
about.
unleashed.
Yeah, just
I
like
get
the
it.
atom bomb sort of thing. So yeah, that's a great film. But what you were saying about
What year is it?
1954, so it's an old, and it's like suit. The guy's in a suit, and by today's standards, maybe some people would say it doesn't look good, but I like love watching that shit. I think it's like proper cinematic, and you know, I prefer watching that to like a weightless sort of CGI Godzilla, even if it's
Good CGI.
even if it's good CGI, and even if the old one looks like a guy in a suit, there's still something impressive about what they did,
It's
sort
like
of thing.
the King Kong remake, Peter Jackson's King Kong versus the original King Kong,
Yeah.
sort of thing. I'm always, I don't know, when it comes to practical versus CGI, I think the best is a carefully considered blend of the two. Like, I think Star Wars gets it right most of the time.
Before I interrupted you.
Star
What
Wars,
was I saying?
I can't remember, but the Star Wars sequels got CGI right, you mean? Because
Yeah.
the prequels, I would say, didn't get it right.
I don't mind. Well, if you just throw on,
I don't dislike the films.
yeah,
No.
if you throw on, forget
'em
about Galactic Senates
Yeah, I
and
like 'em all.
plots. Like, I forget about that aspect because that is convoluted. The plot of the prequels, they look quite good, I think.
Yeah, there are moments in it that do look like...
What?
Everyone focuses on, like, the shit CGI bits from that, like, era.
They
but
focus on that bit where he like uses force to make that pear go over.
Oh, yeah, and stuff like that. Yeah. There are bits that look good in it, sort of thing.
But
And
they still were like using. I'd see.
I almost prefer, in a silly way, CGI from that earlier era when it was flawed. Because now we've got to a point where it's so perfect, which it may sound silly, but I don't want it to look perfect
I don't want it to look
sometimes.
perfect. I like Carpenter.
I like seeing the fucking
Yeah.
hand,
The
like
mistakes.
not the mistakes,
Not mistakes, just different.
but the metaphorical like thumbprints. Like you can see that it's
Yeah.
been
In
made,
clay, yeah.
sort of thing. And even if you think like, well, that's not perfect, you know,
The Fly is terrifying.
yeah, that
Carpenter and Cronenberg, they're like
when you do it real, it will last in your brain a lot longer than like
any
CGI. Yeah.
yeah.
Like the Fly when he actually turns into a fly, it's absolutely fucking horrifying.
It stayed
like,
with me, yeah, definitely.
like, and it looks legit. And in Eraserhead, that fucking baby
Fish.
thing,
Well, that stayed with mine.
Oh my
I think
God.
you said
In my head.
that is unbelievable.
It's so disgusting.
I think you've said he's never said how he made
How
that.
he made it,
That
yeah.
looks the way he's got like sweat on his skin. That looks like a fucking human being. Like
What
Wow.
about when the fucking head
Like-
just at the end just materializes into this massive ghost baby fish head and he's just going around the room constantly. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? What am I watching?
but to tie
It's fucking crazy.
the sort of practical and CGI debate into It's Such a Beautiful Day. obviously, you know, most animated films these days are, you know, Pixar style 3D animations.
Whereas this is
This is This is
primitive
Yeah,
2D.
by design.
yeah, and yeah,
I'm guessing all of these were like hand drawn. And
yeah, I think so. And then I think it looks like a lot of the backgrounds would. There is like real footage
There's
in there
lots of
as
real
well.
footage,
Yeah,
and it
and
it's
like
blended
just photos
in a
and
beautiful manner.
yeah.
at one point, I was like, "Why is that in the background?" It was a dog licking the camera.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I can't.
I mean,
There's a lot going
it
on
was
at
there
points.
for like maybe 2 seconds, maybe 3. But I thought at first it was like some horrible like inside your stomach sort of scene, but it's just him licking the camera, and then he comes up a little bit and you see it, and then goes back, and then
Well, one of the things about this film is, especially once Bill learns he's going to die, is he just realizes that everything has like beauty.
yeah,
He looks at like a pattern, like a wood pattern on his table or something, and he notices like the beauty in it, sort of thing. So I feel like things like that are just like anything in life. And
I'm glad that this didn't just go the nihilist kind of like existential route.
because it definitely could have done that.
A lot of things like this end up going where it's like life is pain,
Yeah.
life is bad, there is no goodness, and
No, because it could very easily have done that.
and I feel like I've seen like Rejected comes off like that at times, and there's no. I feel like Hertzfeld has gone through some sort of life journey, maybe since Rejected, like making it seems.
This is in a different league.
Yeah, a whole different. There's like an emotional. I think he's put some of his personal life into the narrative of this. With like,
that's what I keep seeing.
there's a
in it.
girl.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like.
There's a girlfriend involved in Bill's story.
Yeah.
There's this sort of like loose, weird, fractured narrative going on. That's probably what gives it the kind of human quality, like the understanding of the human experience, because he is putting his own life into it in ways.
Yeah, maybe he broke up with a girl and he's putting it into his videos.
Yeah, I think that there is a lot of that in it.
Yeah, maybe he went through surgery or something.
It's funny how
Or a family member, maybe.
Yeah.
And died, and it made him question his
Existence.
mortality. Or this seems like a film born out of
Fear.
like questioning your place in
pain
the
and
world.
fear. It
And
says there's a bit. It says Bill had always feared death from the
Yeah.
moment he'd been born,
Yeah.
or something like that. And
that
I was just going to say, I have like one of my earliest memories is waking up in my bunk bed. For some reason, I chose to sleep at the opposite top and tail. I had my head where the stairs to the bunk bed were, and my feet where my pillow normally would be that night. And I woke up in a cold sweat. I couldn't remember what the dream I was having was. I must have been 5 or 6. And I just burst into tears because I realised that myself and everyone I knew was going to die one day. And it was the first time I'd ever kind of like realised that. And from that moment on, really, I've been pretty fucking terrified of everything.
I can remember. I can't. I'm not very good at like remembering stuff from like youth necessarily, but like you know how, for example, people are like, "Oh, the first album I ever bought was this, and the first movie," and I'm like, I can't remember that shit. But
Me neither.
but I can remember like the first time I knew that like I was gonna die
Oh, wow.
because the Queen's mother died.
I remember that happening.
Yeah, the Queen.
TV, like, the newsflash thing happening.
Yeah, the Queen's mother died, and I mean, I can't remember exactly in my head, but I sort of almost feel like I asked my mum, like, what does that mean, sort of thing.
Yeah, where'd she
Like,
go?
yeah. And I just remember that was my first like concept of like
Did they get like a national holiday for that?
We probably got
probably.
something like that. But I mean, it is a terrifying concept and moment. Most people spend their lives like not thinking about it and putting it off until they're forced to think about it because of some medical issue that crops up, sort of thing. But it's like the most terror.
And the film sort of says, almost makes a mockery of like why do we spend so much time thinking about that? He's like,
There was a bit with
the moment of his death is like, he's like, why did I spend so much of my life like fixated on this one awkward moment of death? Like, I wish I could go back and...
Is it his uncle that says it? He stood next to the hospital bed and he's talking about like a beef within the family, and he says something like, isn't it a shame that...
Oh, people will never say what they want to say until it's too late, or something like
how
that.
they feel.
Yeah.
Pocket of my jacket broken. But that makes for a very real, bleak sort of realization that we are all gonna die. I love how a film like this.
When
Oh, do you remember the moment when you realized that you were gonna die?
Yeah, but like, well, when everyone was gonna die, I was just like, well, if everyone's gonna die, then that's it.
You can
Can't do anything about it.
You can easily
So,
fall
yeah,
into a hole of like, everyone's gonna die and everything's meaningless, and why the fuck should I?
That's like nihilism.
yeah.
Yeah, straight up. Which,
I'm like, everyone's gonna die.
in a
I can't
world
worry about it.
in a world where religion doesn't rule like it did 100 or 200 years ago or whatever, a lot of young people fall to that trap. Like, a lot of the bands we grew up listening to, the heavy bands, it's all very doom and gloom. It's like, God is dead. And all this, like, you are going to hell.
Yeah.
And then even when they stop, a lot of, like, 80s metal talks about, like, hell. But then, like, new metal, the whole concept of religion was just gone. And it was like, I am unhappy. Reality is not good.
Well, I think this film for me sits the line between religion and
Reality.
reality,
Yeah.
sort of like perfectly, because I'm not like religious, but I know that religion is, in my opinion, like something created to make you feel comfort, because there's somewhere you go after you die.
Yeah.
But I don't think necessarily that's true. I don't know. But so at the end of this film, it treads that line perfectly, because he doesn't go to heaven at the end of the film, I don't think.
No.
But he's sort of like...
And it kind of talks of, like, maybe...
Carries on forever.
Yeah, he carries on forever. He outlives the next visitors to Earth, and he will only disappear when...
Yeah, I forgot about that. Beings
The
of
world
light
burns,
appear at the end.
or
And
disappears in his feet or whatever.
Yeah, and that's just like
Or the
like you
sun
said, you
burns it up.
were like in tears at the end, like just when like the stars are like going out slowly, and that's when he does. Yeah, like, yeah.
Yeah, as far as the, like, whole life after death reincarnation thing, I do...
You believe in that?
I believe that something is happening that we're not being told about, and I think some people know about it, and I'd like to know what the fuck is going on. I think it's pretty bang out of order that there are questions like what happened. I think some people fucking know.
You think people know?
It's 2021.
Flatliners.
Flatline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The producers of Flatliners know.
They know. They know what's happening.
Somebody out there knows, and
There's so many.
I think we should be told.
Loads of articles are like, "Oh, man died for 2 minutes." Tells you what.
Oh
he sees.
yeah, but
You're
I've
like,
NDE, near-death experiences and all that. But then you've not died, and even those people where their heart stops, there's still like brain activity. Like you ain't, they're not dead. I don't. If you were to go somewhere after death, I don't think it would happen until all activity ceased within the body, sort of thing.
but then you can't come back. Then.
But then you can't come back. Exactly.
Unless something happens that we can like, something happens where you can die for a day, all activity's gone, and then they reduce you.
There's this old
You know what I
Hindu
mean?
idea where
You come back like Jesus did.
no, they say that like everything was one at one point, and obviously,
Neon Genesis.
or that's just like classic Eastern philosophy right there. I mean, all the Eastern religions just believe in a oneness. I mean,
I don't know if this
Eastern?
ties into
Yeah.
that,
Oh.
but like another potentially comforting idea, depends how you look on it, but it's just that when you die and you do just become one with the earth, sort of thing, and you're part of it. And again, that's sort of in this film as well, because his crazy uncle dies alone in the forest. Then he's like 2 days later, a sunflower grew out of his head or something,
Yeah.
which was like a strangely like moving
Sentiment.
yeah,
yeah,
I thought.
definitely. I like to think as
Well,
well.
he was left there. That's why.
Water.
In mud and sticks.
Yeah, and it was sad. His whole life was sad, but it was kind of nice that a son. I don't know why, but it just
New
seemed.
life grew out
Yeah,
of something that
yeah.
died. I think about like you know how water is one state and then it evaporates and it's gas. So all the water in the ocean would be like, oh, that water's dying. Look, he's disappearing. But really, he just changed state.
Yeah,
Like, so stuff and cigarette, like, if you burn something, it turns to ash, but that doesn't mean it's gone. It's just, like, changed its form. So I don't see why that can't be the case. But then, like, you can talk about this on a podcast for fucking hours, but at the same time, I have no clue. I have no idea how I feel about that, and I won't. So I think it's where a lot of my anxiety comes from, because it's like the ultimate pre-gig nerves, isn't it? Like this death business.
yeah.
It's like being in a waiting room for the ultimate, like waiting.
You don't know.
For the
We
longest
are in a
bus.
waiting
Well,
room.
that's the whole thing. You don't
just-
know what's going to happen afterwards. That's what makes it so, like,
Divisive.
horrifying.
Yeah,
I love
We're
it.
just filling up the room before we enter into a new
Something else.
job.
It's kind of horrifying when he's driving the car at the end, if you remember, and
Yeah.
he's like, I have to keep driving this fucking car, like, just to like hold on to life for
Just
a
to
little
do
bit
something.
longer.
Yeah.
Like, because if he's like, if I stop driving this car, I'm gonna die. I think is like, because that's how like scared.
He is.
He kind of takes these things that, because originally he's driving around in that car because he loves seeing the like the little small details that he considers to be beautiful, but then that gets taken to like a level of mania where this thing that he was finding
Yeah.
beauty in reality becomes like a horror.
Yeah,
Which again is just something that loads of shit in this film happens to me on a daily basis. Like a lot of the emotions, a lot of the like kind of things Bill was going through, I can empathize and relate with.
I definitely can with the awkward. You know, the very first scene, I think, where he
says hello to someone.
where he says "How's up?"
Yeah.
Yeah, how's up?
which we've already talked about. But yeah, I can definitely relate to shit
And
like
you
that
feel
because
in those moments,
and seeing people that you sort of know, but you don't know if you know them well enough
Yeah.
to say, and being relieved when that situation's over, and like hopefully I never have to see that person
think
again.
of-
Then you see them again, you're like, whoa, shit, what do I do now?
think of how much emotion that generates within. It's like you remember it more than if you would have actually spoke to them.
Yeah, yeah,
The thing is, he talks about like, oh, will any of them like stop and talk to each other? Oh, no, he says, Bill was thinking about whether one of them will stop to talk to each other. That would be me. I don't care, like, if I don't know you that
Yes,
well,
Martin is
or
cut
if
from a
like,
different cloth.
if I've only known you for like 5 minutes, I will stop and be like, let's have a chat.
oh right, okay.
So that would have definitely been me stopping and be like, "What's happening, Bill?" And
Oh,
then he
right.
would have been like,
How's up?
"How's up?" Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be like, "The fuck you mean?"
You'd love you thrive off nonsense. And
Yeah, I do.
So it-
I
yeah.
do.
It
I
would have been
do.
fine
As
if
soon as
someone
it
said
happens,
that.
I'm like, the thing is, the more shit that happens when you're in the street, like, I don't know, it just seems so interesting to see somebody like do something crazy that you don't see on a daily basis.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So like, obviously, just seeing someone that you may or may not know isn't that crazy, but like everything else that's like, oh, some guy just threw all of women's clothes on the road.
Have you ever seen that happen?
Yeah, like 3 weeks ago.
What happened?
So I went to London it was about 2 weeks ago, and there was this couple arguing.
Like a cliche from a film when like someone throws all of their partner's like belongings
Yeah.
out of the window, like
yeah,
and-
literally like that. Yeah. So then they Then we're arguing about something, and he was just like, "No, I'm sick of it. Sick of all this shit. I'm not gonna deal with this anymore." And they just threw all her shit
Jesus
all over
Christ.
the street,
Wow.
on the road. I was like, I could not, like, I could not write this, bro. Like, 3 seconds after all that shit happened.
Yawn directly into them.
No, it's all right. I
Don't
mean,
worry
it is
about
getting late. We're burning the midnight oil here.
Anyway, 2 seconds after that happened, a car, this car was pulling out of this like street, but he was in the wrong, and there was another car coming, and they nearly crashed. They both had to stop immediately.
All right, yeah.
And both of them got out the car to like sort of fight or whatever.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Life
yeah.
just turned into a fucking movie for a second. Then
I was
like-
mesmerized by what the fuck was happening, and I'm like, this shit. To me, that is the most interesting thing in the day. And then when they go out to like try to fight, the police like drove past, and then they just both got back in the car, and then just like,
because they saw the police, they were
Yeah.
like,
let's not fucking deal with this shit. So
As soon as people get in their cars, they turn into like the angriest. I've got to get to my destination as
Think about-
fast
okay,
as possible.
Think about this. I was
And
driving.
anyone who gets in my way can fucking die.
I
It's
was-
like the mentality.
driving from work to where I live in town.
Yeah.
Not a week ago. And I
Yeah.
was driving down the London road with Vicky Park on my left. And I was going to turn left, so I'd go across where you drive into the car park of Victoria Park.
Yeah.
And round down towards
Like de Montfort Hall.
Bannatyne's de Montfort
Sort of,
Hall.
yeah.
Yeah. And as I put my indicator on to make that left-hand turn, and a child ran across the road.
Jesus
Okay.
Christ.
Which
oh,
so what happened
man.
is I applied my brakes within 10, 15 foot of the child, a long way away.
Yeah.
The child made it completely to the other side of the road. There was no risk of a collision. It was just like, oh, I have to stop,
Yeah.
sort of thing. I let the child get to the other side of the road. I see he's with just his father, I assume, a male. And the male is on the other side of the road, and he is not crossed. So as the child got to the other side of the road, I just thought, I'm just going to go here,
Yeah.
sort of thing.
There are no traffic lights in this scenario. Like
No,
they're
there's
just
no
jaywalking,
no traffic.
essentially. Like,
Oh, yeah, there are traffic lights. Yeah, he is doing that.
But yeah, they're crossing when it's on the red man.
And the kid ran.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it was red man. And I just let the kid get to the other side, and then I was going to go. And as I drive past the man, he shouts. I don't hear what he shouts at me at all, but what I did notice was that he threw a stone yay big straight up my windshield.
Really?
Big enough to, like, I don't know how I didn't end up with a chip or something, but it made this hell of a noise. And
What a knob.
I was like, I try to be a pacifist, you know. I'm a man of peace, so.
Oh man.
But I was very tempted
I
to
don't
just
like
be like,
confrontation.
I was so tempted to just be like, it didn't even do anything, you prick.
Yeah.
It bothered me so much.
You could have just
That
got
is a-
and be like, what the fuck was that?
That is an annoying scenario, to be fair.
And I just don't. People get so angry. I couldn't imagine being that angry about something so trivial. And people get like it in their cars. It's just.
Yeah, I try to consciously drive at the speed limit or lower, and I get annoyed when people drive at my arse. And on the street that I live on, I drive incredibly slowly because I'm conscious of animals and like just the people who live there, sort of thing, and other people who live on that street. You can see like the fucking sparks on the back of their car when they mount their fucking drives and stuff.
Jesus.
Like, but
They're going that fast.
yeah,
There was a.
because I'm just a
What's funny
fucking
is
amazing
that's
guy.
not even what I was telling you guys. That wasn't even the craziest thing that happened that day.
There's more to your.
There's more.
It would only happen
There's
to you
more.
as well.
And this is all, bearing in mind, within 10 minutes of each other.
That's
right?
nuts.
Like all of this happened within 10 minutes, right? Then we walk 5 minutes down the road, and there's a man I'm not sure. Maybe he was homeless. Maybe not. Fuck knows. Fully butt naked, shitting in a bush.
What the?
While singing. I don't know what song it was, but he was singing fucking something.
It sounded like you walked through a door and walked through a door in fucking
Entered Earl
reality.
Shilton.
Yeah. It wasn't in Old Shilton.
Sounds like you
where
went.
was it?
And
London. That's why.
you
I
went.
was like,
You entered a David Lynch film for somehow.
Just a quick second, yeah. You just strolled through a scene.
I just couldn't believe my eyes. I was like, this is so interesting. Like, why is that man naked? Who is he? Like, is he homeless? Or is he just crazy? You know what? I'm just going to see what the rest of the day brings me. Nothing
Yeah.
else happened after that.
Yeah. That's probably for the best.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Do you,
Anyway,
do-
closing thoughts, Liam.
Yeah, you're the one that bought us this film, Liam.
That's
You,
it.
you
Well,
made, you made
give
the
us the closing
suggestion. So why did you pick this film, and what? Yeah, what did you think of it on this viewing?
well, every time I've always wanted to. Every time I've watched this film, I've always thought I want to recommend that film to other people because it's not exactly a widely seen film, and
But it should
It's
be.
not very conventional.
yeah, I mean, I would like everyone I know to have seen it because it's just gripping and it's got so many ideas. I feel like I felt like every emotion pretty much like watching that film, and I also just really like Don Hertzfeld's like MO, just the way that he works. Like he's, as far as I know, he's like completely opposite to being in like the Hollywood system. He
Yeah.
releases all his films on Vimeo, really, which isn't like a really easily accessible way to get a film, but it just works for him, I think, because he gets like the best cut from that sort of thing, and
Yeah.
he purely functions on like a cult fan base sort of thing. Like I've got his new film, that World of Tomorrow film. It's coming out on Blu-ray in a couple of months, which he did a Kickstarter project for. And again, you've probably not heard of him, but that's got like, his goal was like $30,000 or something, and it's made like $500,000 or something.
Yeah.
He's got like a good cult following sort of
He-
thing.
As I said, early internet, he was one of the key
Yeah.
kind
Key
of
players.
before.
Does he make any films that are not drawn? Or are they all drawn?
No, I think they're all drawn. But that's another thing. That's one of the most original like forms of film that I've ever seen as well, sort of thing. I think that is his like stick figure. It's like timeless as well. That film could have been made like almost in like the fucking 1900s.
Well, it definitely reminds me of. I don't know if you've seen
It'll
it.
still be relevant now.
Maya
so.
Darren.
I don't think so.
She, Lynch, Fellini, Scorsese all love Maya Darren, but she made films in the 40s and 50s that were just like
Yeah.
felt like dreams basically, and way ahead of their time. But yeah, I agree. You could show this to somebody, probably 50 or 60 years ago, and they'd probably still feel a lot of the intended emotions.
Yeah.
Is this one of his first films? Or
I think it's his first.
No.
Well, like feet.
Yeah, he
long
d-
length thing.
Yeah, this is like the first one he's done that's like an hour long, but it's still like, this is still like 3 short films like put together sort of thing. So
yeah, he released them in separate anyway. So
yeah, but I think he was even going in like the 90s and stuff. I think he's been around
Does
for
he-
quite a while.
Do you know if he did anything to kind of? It's 3 short films that are tied together, but did he add anything to them, joining them?
I've never watched them all
Separately.
separately, but I think they were always intended to join up to each other. So presumably they just neatly fitted in.
I see.
does
to
he
one
ever feature Bill again?
No, I don't think so. There's in the World of Tomorrow, the character is called Emily, and it looks a lot like his girlfriend. But I'm not sure if it's just like a generic female sort of
that he
drawing. Yeah. But yeah, I also just in terms of like modern films, it's hard to get like. It's hard to be original anymore because everything's been done.
Yeah.
But I think this film, personally, in my opinion, is one of the films that can actually be called like a modern masterpiece sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because it's got all the stuff that I want in a film where it's got just like loads of ideas and you can watch it and again and pick up on new things and just discuss them like we have. And you could probably take any scene and sort of discuss like the existentialism or something like that.
It's interesting what you say about like it being a great piece of modern film because a lot of stuff's already been done. And we were talking about that last episode with Shiva Baby about how that film I thought was a real good bit of modern filmmaking because you couldn't make that film 50 years ago. It doesn't pander to those like cowboy kind of sensibilities. It's all based on emotion and mental. We're very much, and
it wouldn't work 50 years before. It just wouldn't.
No, and this film lives in like an emotional realm that when Hollywood first appeared, that wasn't what filmmaking was for at all. So it's, and I'm very excited about the direction filmmaking is going in if emotion is going to start becoming like the main focus of like the lens of how you see the world and whatnot. So it's, films like this make me well excited.
Nice. Well, I've said to you earlier
you did.
that I want to do a sequel podcast.
He's already planned his second return.
Already, mate. Like we don't
If
even
I'd
need
be-
to do a schedule.
if
mate.
I'd
Just
be
leave it to
welcome.
him.
Because, like I said, I've got his World of Tomorrow films coming on Blu-ray in a couple of months. So maybe by, I think it was supposed to come out in June, but him being like such an independent filmmaker, I think he said expect delays. So it may be like August or something.
Yeah.
Well, that works out with the Randy Master.
It does work out.
It kind of, we use it for a period of time and then it powers down and needs to charging up again. So a few months, Liam, and we'd be happy to have you back.
Yeah,
Cool.
I wouldn't want to overstay my welcome to.
That's fine, bro.
You're-
that was the longest closing thoughts I've ever heard.
Yes, there was still
What
stuff
about
I
you,
wanted to say.
What?
Go
There was
on.
still stuff that I wanted to say. That's
Go on.
why. I mean, when you asked me,
when
but
you asked
but
me.
but just quickly about World of Tomorrow as well is, it's everything that makes this film like great. World of Tomorrow, I think it has as well. World of Tomorrow is set in more of a, as you can tell by the name, like a sci-fi
Yeah.
sort of world. And again, I think it's one of the best like
So
examples.
you've already seen it.
Yeah, I've already seen that as well, but I want
I
to
mean,
show
like,
you
I've
guys.
seen some clips of World of Tomorrow and
You
they seem to use
were
more
saying
colour.
that the
It-
Blu-ray's coming in a couple of months. I was like,
Yeah, because I just want it on Blu. I've
can
seen
buy
it
his films on
before,
Vimeo.
but I just want it on Blu-ray.
I see. Yeah.
And it's again, I think that's another example. That's like one of the greatest modern sci-fis, in my opinion, because it's just
I can't
such
wait
like
to
a
see
all good sci-fi needs to be like just have big ideas and concepts that you can melt your brain over, sort of thing. And World of Tomorrow, even the first part, which is 15 minutes long, had like all of that within that 15 minutes.
It's
So
pretty
I thought,
exciting that you used the word sci-fi to describe it, because if we look at the trajectory of Hertzfeld's work, Rejected has no sci-fi element
No.
whatsoever. It's Such a Beautiful Day kind of ties what the sentimentalities of like Rejected and then gives it this metaphysical twist.
yeah,
Whereas you're saying that this new direction, the next project, kind of doubles down on that
yeah.
whole thing.
World of Tomorrow has a lot of the same ideas of this framed into like a sci-fi narrative. So the basic idea is that you want to live forever, like Bill did,
Oh wow!
and they create clones of themselves. But as the clones get further and further into the future, what makes them the person that they originally were
Fade.
fades and fades, sort of thing.
What? This Is this?
This is World of Tomorrow, the next film
Oh,
by the
come
same
on,
guy.
Stop fucking ruining it.
Well, no, that's
Oh, that
just
sounds like a
I
fantastic
get it,
premise.
but don't tell me shit. I wanna feel the same way as I did with this one. You didn't say anything to this one.
Well,
I
you're
want the same with the
just
World
put
of
it out your
Tomorrow.
brain then for
Yeah.
a few months.
Don't worry,
And
bro.
Oh yeah,
Fine.
I'm gonna forget it now. But I'm just saying, don't mention any more. All right.
yeah,
What
We're
you
good.
What are you thinking, Martin?
What are your closing?
Yeah,
thoughts?
sorry
I was
about
just about
waffling.
To ask you. It's fine.
I
Don't
mean,
worry
yeah,
about it.
Liam covered a lot of
lot of ground.
a lot
right
of the
there.
emotional bases that I.
He knows what we have in our heads,
It-
and he's just explaining.
yeah.
it.
We
Just
felt-
end the podcast now because I've said it all.
I felt that. Yeah, I felt very similar to you on a lot of points. Just that
Nice.
Don Hertzfeld obviously has an intrinsic understanding of what it is to be a human. That's
Yeah.
what this film told me. I don't feel like I need to say much more than that.
No.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
and
do you feel?
I don't really have a lot more to say since you guys.
I'm really happy,
covered it
Martin.
all.
I'm happy.
All of it.
I'm happy, Martin, that you. I feel like just probably in the way that I phrase things and might have bought things to you. When in the early stages of the podcast, if I bought this film to you and just shown you like a small portion of it, I feel like there could have been portions of this film I could have shown you where you've been like, I'm not watching that.
There were portions to it.
I forgot
of it
how
where
insane it was.
Where I
to be
felt
fair.
like I was just like, let me stop this. But then I like.
We did
just
Enter the
saw-
Void the other day, bro.
Yeah,
That's nothing
that's
on that.
what like that's what it reminded me of. Enter the Void.
There's bits like that,
Yeah.
And there
But at
were
least
bits
this
like-
is only 1 hour long. So
Huh?
at least this is only 1 hour long. But that's
Yeah.
3 hours of
Yeah,
just
exactly. So like
madness.
I sort of like pushed through it because I thought if something comes up that immediately hurts my brain or like
That's crazy.
gets me fucking scared, I'll tell you. But it didn't. It was just building
I
up
never-
and then it like teased me and then it just.
I
went
never
like
had
that.
that thought in my head when I bought this because I've not seen it for a while and I just forgot how intense some of it is actually at points.
But since we watched fucking Enter the Void, I was like,
Yeah, you've watched
Okay.
more intense films
like,
than
yeah.
this, definitely.
I mean, yeah. Even what was that other film we watched?
Demon Lover.
Demon Lover.
Yeah, well, we
You
lost
know
that podcast, unfortunately, but we did watch Demon Lover at the request of our good friend, all three of our good friend Todd Whitsey. And, I mean, that I can compartmentalize this stuff because it's the film industry, and this was an idea that someone had and wrote a script and got funding. I think of it like that. That's how fucked up stuff in films. I'm never like, this is real, because I just think of the production side of things, and it demystifies it for me.
Another thing that didn't worry me as much. It was animated. I don't know some forms of like. Because like anime, I can watch scary shit, like gory, scary shit in anime, and they won't like do that shit to me. And then if it's like an actual real person, I don't know why it just makes it worse.
But
Yeah.
It feels like I'm that person, and that is happening to me.
I was happy
Yeah.
that you could get something from this film and still enjoy it, and because it wasn't conventional at all.
I
so-
sort of forgot them bits. After the first one, I sort of forgot them bits. So like after the first one happened, I knew that in the second chapter, I was like, some shit like that's gonna happen again. Obviously, the grandma throwing her.
Rubbing cat heads against stuff.
Yeah, I'm throwing the kid in like a lane is like as a.
I fucking
sport.
love how that's presented. It's like every time Bill like drew her a pretty picture and like you expect it to be like something nice, and then it's like she pictured how she could just toss him out the window and
Yeah, you're like,
kill him
what?
instantly.
Again, like this lovely innocent
Yeah.
notion just flipped on its head.
Yeah.
Like the direct opposite. It's like angel and devil. It's very bipolar. It makes
Oh,
me
yeah.
laugh. That's something very funny in the flipping of the.
Yeah.
Well,
I
Go on. One
I'd-
last point from
Go
Liam.
the
on.
last thing I want to say is, have you ever had a night where you've just sat there and thought about how the world is going to end and there's just going to be endless like nothingness,
no,
and it's
I'm gonna.
and
be
I've almost
long dead.
yeah,
by
but
then.
that's
You know
I don't mind the idea of being dead. I'm more scared of the idea of like just there being nothing.
Well, you know what?
That's what scares me.
The conclusion that I've come to is, whoa. I actually refute nothingness because.
Okay, it will happen again or something.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, just
Bound
think.
to.
Just think. I can't remember pre-birth. When I go to sleep every night, something definitely still happens. I'm going crazy up there.
yeah,
I'm running
but
around
your
all
brain
over-
still works.
Yeah,
It's-
I'm running over all over the shop. Then pre-death, pre-birth, sleep, all seem to kind of be the same realm. Like it's the same
Yeah.
sort of place that you're at. And then, I don't know, I meditate, so there's like a state you can get to there that's like comparable to being asleep, but like being awake at the same time. So I just feel like this is the weird bit. Like this is the outlier.
Yeah.
That they seem to be the same sort of like cut from the same cloth, but this weird bit where we're stuffed into meat suits and like there's all these feelings and stuff like
Yeah.
that. That's the weird part. So I hope maybe we'll just go
Well-
back to where we came from.
Well, they were saying that the thing that caused the Big Bang.
Don't say those words. Big bang.
Why?
Oh, it's just a ludicrous
look,
notion. A big
look.
bang.
Whatever happened at the beginning of this universe being created,
The
all
Big
right?
Bang Theory theme music played.
Look, whatever.
Sheldon Cooper appeared.
They say that whatever happened at the beginning just expanded, and what it's doing is expanding so much that it's becoming sort of like closed again, so it can like
That's like
Restart.
restart all over again. So like when the world ends, it's
I mean,
not
there's
gonna be like when that finishes, but it'll be one of the times.
When
where
has there ever
everything-
been nothingness? I can't think of a time when that's ever existed. It seems
Well,
Well,
it's-
how can
they're
you
obviously-
when you were already born in this?
yeah. It's
Well,
not
do you know what I
documented
mean?
because
You
there was
can't-
no one there
Yeah,
to
no one was-
document
But it just
Yeah.
seems awfully
Awfully
elusive.
convenient
Awfully-
that no one was there.
this nothingness concept. It seems maybe that's just my terrified little ego speaking.
But yeah, I was just going to say that even though you may be able to think of it in different ways, I still sometimes sit there and think like everything is going to be gone someday, and that's like scary.
Yeah.
But this film, the ending of it sort of almost has that idea, but it's comforting.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's assured
About-
you that you still live on.
Yeah, in some way or
Yeah,
another, sort
yeah.
of thing, until time ends. But it's kind of all right at that point, sort of thing. And yeah,
Just a reassurance.
yeah, and I just think that that's just if a film can portray that kind of idea as well, especially one that on paper just looks like a silly little animated film.
That's some
And
pretty good
it's
visual
pretty fucking good.
storytelling,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah,
That's what I think.
definitely.
Well, thank you, Liam, for joining us.
No
Yeah,
problem.
thank you
It's
so
been
much.
fun.
Another week at It's Not That Deep, bro.
Thank you so much, man.
You know what
That's
I mean?
right. I've enjoyed every minute. I love talking about films.
Do you want the viewers to follow you in any
I
sort
was gonna
of
say, yeah,
form of social media?
letterboxed.
I don't know my letterbox username off by heart, and I just don't really. I'm so out of the loop with social media now.
I feel like you're Liam M on Letterboxd.
Yeah, but I don't think that's like my username.
username,
You might
no.
be able to find me in that way, but there isn't much interesting to see there. You know, just go about your own. Anyone listening, just go about your own day. You don't have to follow. You don't have to pay any attention to me.
Oh my god!
come
Wow,
on.
that's so humble.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
Humble
Everyone's
brag.
gonna find you now. It's like we need to.
he was going to be in high demand. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
it's like
the smart.
we need this guy again.
That's
Maybe-
the smartest way to play it.
Well, thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for listening.
You know where to find us at the usual spots.
You go to
Instagram, Spotify,
mipltd.org
Apple Music.
on Facebook and Instagram, and then check out my music, ølund, on Spotify and Apple Music and anywhere where you're doing your streaming. And
Check out my my skipping. Come say hello.
Road to
I
World
skip
Champ.
every day. What time is it actually?
I don't know. But
Half 12. Half
we
12.
are going to leave you with the wonderful tones of Leicester's very own These Furrows. This is no invitation, no welcome, and this has been It's Not That Deep, bro.
Peace.
The hiding in your awkward ways. Just take a little two-step break. For all of us and goodness sake. You're hiding in your awkward ways. Certain necessaries, all for death they're bound. It's out the ordinary, no way, nowhere they're found. You're hiding in your awkward ways. Just take a little two-step break. For all of us and goodness sake. They're hiding in your awkward ways. Let's wear our hearts low. Let's take a minute. We'll listen to all you say. Let's sneak around you. Let's wear our hearts low. Let's take a minute. We'll listen to all you say. Let's sneak around you. Let's wear our hearts low. Let's take a minute. Listen to all you say. Let's sneak around you. Let's wear our hearts low. Let's take a minute. We'll listen to all you say.